Good afternoon to you. Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com, here with your Hurricane Outlook and discussion for Tuesday, June the 4th, 2019. Let's take a look at what's happening here with Invest Area 91L in the western Gulf of Mexico here, down to 40% chance of development. And it doesn't look like it's going to become a tropical depression or a tropical storm at this point. It still might. You never know. You know, a 4 in 10 shot, not too shabby. I mean, I wish the Powerball had those kinds of odds, but I digress. So for this system, luck does not appear to be on its side, and it'll probably not become a named storm, which would have been Barry. That's the next name on the list, as it moves generally north to north-northwest with time up towards the Texas coast, northeastern Mexico. With it, a lot of moisture will be coming in, and we can see that on the water vapor imagery here, this satellite loop. You also notice that overall the system remains disorganized. All of this coloring in here shows us how much moisture there is, water vapor in the atmosphere. But you also notice that there are these clusters of storms, and they're not consolidated. You have these three different groups. Well, this one dissipates, but you can see that everything is still spread out, and all of this moisture is headed up this way towards the Texas coast and eventually into the lower Mississippi Valley, where we don't need any more excessive rain, or any rain at all right now for that matter. And this really shows up well now on the vorticity signature. I've shown this since we started looking at this system. And yesterday it was more round in its appearance than it is today. Now it is stretched back out again, that linear kind of look to it. It's oblong, it's not rounded in appearance. Stretched out is the energy, so it's not really bundling and forming into a tropical cyclone. Nevertheless, this does represent that energy, and it's all headed up in this general direction. We'll use the color white here just for a minute. It's all headed up here towards Texas and again into the lower Mississippi Valley, where more energy will be coming in from other weather systems in the mid-latitudes, combining with all of this moisture that's going to stream out of the warm Gulf of Mexico, with energy coming in from the northwest, and you're going to get this zone set up across much of the south of heavy rain potential over the next several days. And we're going to look at that in more detail here going forward. Now, I'm going to talk about rain a lot more. I know it's not that exciting of a headline, but 100-mile-an-hour hurricanes or 10-foot storm surges are not the only thing that tropical systems bring. And even in Houston, it's easy for people to forget, as bad as they have seen things over the decades, and especially the last few years. It is easy to forget. It's hurricane season, and you're looking for that word hurricane to form somewhere. Is it going to form? And if so, is it coming to Houston? And this system here, just a tropical disturbance, just in quotes there, is going to be problematic. And you can see that's already beginning here as the Houston area now under, and other areas around Houston, not just Houston. This flash flood watch there in green, the darker green, and then up here in southwest Louisiana. You know what? Let's just click on this because I want to show you how you can use this. This is, by the way, what site is this, Mark? Well, this is the Weather Service homepage at weather.gov, weather.gov, right there. And so you see down here, you may say, hey, I live over there. What's happening? So you can click on the map, and it takes you to the local area, and you get a nice infographic describing the conditions today, tonight, tomorrow, etc. And then you scroll down further, and you see what's going on here. You have these river floods that are affecting some of these river systems. Those are these lighter green colors that tend to follow the rivers. You see those through there? That's your flood warning. You can click on that. Those are areas that are in flood right now. You understand? And then you have the flash flood watch. That would be this darker green area over here, and then the coastal flood advisory, sort of the other color green, right over here. All right? So a lot going on in some areas that really don't need to see any more rainfall right now. And then you have these big metro areas, Houston, Galveston, up towards Beaumont, Port Arthur, part of that I-10 corridor through Lake Charles. And why the coastal flood? Well, the coastal flood advisory, those strong, consistent, and persistent southerly winds coming up through here will push the Gulf, that concave shape of the coastline. It's kind of like a small storm surge. You blow the water long enough against that body of water, and it's going to pile up at the opposite end, and you can get some rises in the water levels along, think about High Island, Texas, down to the Bolivar Peninsula perhaps, and up through parts of the parishes of southwest to central, and maybe even eventually southeastern Louisiana. So a problem for sure. Looking at the radar real quick, let's go to the standard version. There we go. Always a bailout. Nothing on the radar up here coming out of Lake Charles just yet. If we scoop down towards the Houston area, you start to see the heavy rainfall moving in towards the coastal bend and farther south from there, or further south, farther, whatever. Heavy rain moving in towards Kennedy County and South Padre Island as an example. Yeah, maybe a little showery out there, all the way up getting towards Corpus Christi, northeastern Mexico, Matamoros, etc. So here it comes, this plume of moisture streaming up. A little bit of a vorticity signature right in there on the radar. Just a little bit of turning as that broad, weak, low-pressure area moves in. But the big problem here is going to be a lot of rainfall, and that is why the flood watches are up. And this needs to be taken very seriously. That's old. There we go. You see that? It cached something from who knows when. I should have looked at the date before I refreshed it. That's okay. Back probably a few weeks ago or something. Old caching of the browser. This area here, the greatest concern from a non-named storm. Non-named system. Not tropical storm Barry. It's not a tropical depression. It's a 91L. It's a disturbance with a ton of moisture. And you got 4+ million people living in Houston and vicinity. So here it comes. Another big-time flood event possible. Please pay attention to your local trusted news outlets, etc. And for the love of Pete and all of his brothers and sisters, do not drive through the floodwaters. I'm telling you what, this is a 100% preventable issue in this country. People driving their vehicles, pickup trucks, SUVs, sedans, it doesn't matter. Don't drive them through the floodwaters, okay? It's just not worth it. And I know that sounds so, just what are you, a public service announcer? Come on, lay off. It's my car. We want you here to watch, like I say often, look at it from a selfish point of view that I want you here to watch these videos. So if you don't watch the videos, there's no reason for me to be here. So the more of you that watch the videos, the better it is for me. And so just from that perspective, I don't want you driving through floodwater, because if you're dead, you can't watch my videos. There you go. Trying to save your butt, even if it's for, something that'll benefit me in the long run. I get to do my job only if you stay alive. Look at that. Severe thunderstorm watch just popped up down here in parts of the low country. Non-related to anything necessarily tropical, even though the air mass is starting to become more tropical. Look at this, too, real quick. Let me see if I can zoom in. Yes, I can. Look at this map. Look at all these greens. I'm going to highlight this with the highlighter here. Down the Mississippi Valley and its tributaries. Very, very troubling signs here as the river system, the old basin there, the Mississippi River Basin, and the larger secondary rivers feeding into that, all in flood stage right now. Lots and lots of people having to deal with this. And any big-time tropical system, 91L coming up into here, is going to be problematic enough. But as the season progresses, if we don't get a period where all of this dries out, and we get something that comes up in here with a landfall, especially a slow mover like a Harvey, I don't want to worry you, but, we need to be ready for this, at least mentally. Wrap our brains around the fact that we're in a very precarious situation here. Speaking of water, I'm going to get a sip of mine real quick. There we go. Nice glass of cold water here in the office. With it being hurricane season, we need to keep this in mind. Not much we can do about it except, again, just be ready in case it gets worse, especially in the lower Mississippi Valley. A lot going on with that, and dealing with the flooding situation. And, at the very least, I got your back. I'm going to let people know about it. From my point of view, you've also got some great folks down there in the media, local television meteorologists. I think of Rob Perillo as an example in Lafayette, right? I think so. Either Lafayette or Baton Rouge. I think he's in Lafayette. And others in the Houston metro area, the folks down there, they're going to help you too. So it's a very serious thing, flooding, and I'm not going to just dismiss it because it doesn't have the headline appeal of a hurricane. All right? So there you go. Stating my position and sticking with it. Look at all this red. Wow. It's rainfall and even some golden colors in here. We'll use the white color once again. There you are. This is the quantitative precipitation forecast for the next several days. And anything in this red color all through here is generally 3 inches of rain or higher over the next 5 to 7 days. I think that's what I selected. And you can see a lot of rainfall coming up into areas that, honest to goodness, just don't need it. And there you go. That's what it looks like. How does this map come to be? Well, we'll talk about that another day. But think of this as guidance overall. And it's not necessarily so that northeast Louisiana and west central Mississippi here are absolutely going to get, 5 to maybe 10 inches of rain or whatever those colors are in there, close to that color code. This is just general guidance based on the model output from the precipitable water in the atmosphere and other methodologies. We'll talk about that maybe some other day. So there you go. That's what it looks like from that point of view, but it's more simplified in this. And this is not talked about nearly as much as it should be, in my opinion. The SPC, the Storm Prediction Center, has their severe weather outlook, and you get your greens, your yellows, your reds, and your pinks, right? Your marginal. I know there's more levels than that on the severe weather, but generally that's what we look for. Is it, especially from slight risk up when we're talking severe weather. It tends to get people's attention, especially the storm chasers. And moderate and high, the red and pink, woo, boy, everybody goes nuts. And especially when that happens out here in the Great Plains, then you get these hordes of chasers out there, and they show up on Spotter Network, hundreds and hundreds of them. And that's a big deal. A lot it gets made about it on social media. Well, the Weather Prediction Center also issues these excessive outlooks, and in this case for excessive rain. You got excessive severe weather from the SPC, and so you have the same general thought process here from the Weather Prediction Center. This is the day 1 excessive rain outlook, and you have some slight areas. That should get your attention overall. This definitely should get your attention, though. Once you start to see this moderate risk take shape, that is very problematic. And again, that's over a highly populated area of southeast Texas. And then you have the slight risk area there covering a good deal of Louisiana and a larger chunk of southeast Texas and southwest Arkansas as this tropical moisture gets advected into that area. All right, and then we go back to the top here, if it lets me, in day 3, that shifts a little bit. And it's right where we don't need to be seeing it, in the lower Mississippi Valley and the contributing river systems, the tributaries, the catchment basins of other river systems in that region. So, problems. I really feel for you folks because there's just nothing you can do about it once that flooding starts. You can sandbag and move stuff all you want, but if that water gets into your home or business, it's done. It's just terrible. And I've never had to deal with it in person. I feel very fortunate, but I've seen it enough in my career from tropical cyclones and river flood events some of those related directly to each other, that from the bottom of my heart, I definitely feel for you folks. And I'm just trying to let you know, hey, sometimes it's not all good news here, generally speaking, right? We talk about hurricanes, just letting you know, bad news coming, more rainfall where we absolutely don't need it. Now, looking at the model guidance here, this is the GFS. Again, this is just one layer of the atmosphere, and we're going to look over the next few days here. This goes out 2 weeks. I'm just going to kind of show you how 91L there just kind of turns into a bunch of nothing in terms of organization, but then you got this upper level feature that comes in here and helps to wring out all that moisture. That bowling ball rolling through is energy in the atmosphere. And this does go out for 14, 15, 16 days, whatever it is. You notice there's the evolution of the system stretching out, combining with this energy coming out of Texas. The Panhandle, upper level feature there, energy in the atmosphere, colder air in the upper levels. Rainfall gets wrung out because of that, and that moves across. And you got a lot of rainfall. That's why all those reds and golden colors are showing up through this region. And you see, too, you notice the other thing, no concentrated areas. I'll just try to draw. We don't see anything coming in with a big circle on it like that. No blobs, moving up the East Coast or, coming this way. Big X for that. We're in a down period overall of potential development. It's just not happening anytime soon. All right? Which is good news. That's the good part of this. Real quick, Dr. Phil Klotzbach and his colleagues at Colorado State University increasing their forecast for the hurricane season, now calling for average activity. So there you go. Enough of the signals indicating to Dr. Klotzbach and his folks that he works with there to create all this. The bottom line, already had Andrea, so 13 more named storms. That's getting it. 6 hurricanes to go, 2 major hurricanes with an ACE of about 100. That's almost right on the money of an average season. Could just have one and it comes into your area. It could be just a tropical storm. I got to stop saying just a tropical storm, but you get the idea. Let's see where this goes. He'll issue another update, I believe, in early August. We'll see, and we'll just monitor how the conditions pan out over the next few weeks and months. Was doing some reading from a young man at OU, and that's Oklahoma, University of Oklahoma, and or is it Oklahoma University? Anyway, I think it's OU, so it's Oklahoma University, but whatever. His report he did, his name is Tyler Stanfield. I think it's Stanfield with not an S. It could be Stansfield, but I think it's Tyler Stanfield. It's very lengthy. You ought to look him up on Twitter. And the main thing that I liked in his, besides the giant analysis that he gave, which was very thorough, was that July is an important part of the equation because that's when the trade winds peak in the Atlantic. And if we don't see a significant cooling of the Atlantic main development region in July, and we get through that trade wind peak where the highest pressures are typically found in the Atlantic basin, and then it's downhill from there, the pressures begin to lower, we get towards the peak of the season. If all that coincides and we keep warming the main tropical region of the Atlantic, the sea surface temperatures, we could be in for quite a busy season. Of course, we're also watching what happens with the ENSO, the El Nino Southern Oscillation phenomenon. But it looks like the Atlantic is a big, big key here, and we'll take a look at that. That's what we can do on these updates. At least once a week, we'll take a gander at what's happening with the sea surface temperatures and so forth. But anyway, this from Phil Klotzbach updating his forecast here on the 4th of June, calling for an average season ahead. All right. Last year, we had Hurricane Michael. That's the background here. And this documentary is available on YouTube right now. I'm still waiting for Amazon to publish it. I heard back from them yesterday that they're just having a slower process than normal. They're working on it, and they will let me know once it's published on Amazon for rent or for sale. It is coming, so keep being patient. You will be rewarded. The people that have purchased this off of YouTube through PayPal, and I'm going to show you where you can do that in just a moment, really like it. I'm getting some great feedback from total strangers. These are not my friends who are, well, of course they're going to say nice things about your movie, Mark. Yes, my friends are saying nice things, but these are people that I have never met. And they are supporting my work by purchasing the movie, and they're giving me this tremendous feedback, and I really appreciate that. So in addition to it being available on Amazon eventually and YouTube right now, next Wednesday, June 12th, in Tallahassee, Florida, at the Regal Cinemas there's only one at Governor's Square. It's the Regal Stadium 12. We're going to be in Theater 10 showing this, the theatrical version. The one on YouTube and Amazon, by the way, is the full director's cut. It's 2 hours and 1 minute. And the theatrical version, I took out about 18 minutes of backstory to just shorten it a little bit and leave the dramatic stuff, of course. So the theatrical release, which focuses mainly on Florence and Michael, we're going to show this again, absolutely free of charge, thanks to the Boggs Law Group out of St. Petersburg, Florida, who supported this as the sponsor, if you will, to help cover the fee for the theater. Free. It's free. You can come out and see this for free next Wednesday night. Bring your friends, your family, whoever. 7 o'clock, Regal Cinemas in Tallahassee. I'll be talking about it more, and we'll tell you how you can make sure you get a seat. There's only about 100 seats available in the theater, plus or minus, and you want to make sure you get there and see this important film, especially the Michael chapter. I don't want to diminish what happened with Florence, but you folks down in Florida, this is your turn to see what happened and how we did it. How did we capture what we captured in Hurricane Michael? All right, and Florence too. So at HurricaneTrack.com/2018, you can go there, and it's available. There's the trailer from YouTube. Click the Buy Now button, and you own it. It's digital. I don't have to send it to you via DVD or anything like that. And let's see if I can get that color to go. There we go. And I'll email you the link. I get the emails to me wherever I am, and within just a few minutes I'll email you a link, and you can share it with your family. If I do see it starting to get more views than sales, if you will, like by a wide margin, I will delete it and start the process over and so forth. Right now, we haven't had a problem with that. That's the only bad part about this, is somebody could purchase it and then put it on a message board somewhere or whatever. But, you know, if I start to see the views go up crazy, I'll just take it off and we'll start again. No big deal. Easy to do that. So that's how you can get a copy of this now. And then soon, it will be on Amazon, I promise. Hey, at least they took the time to write me back yesterday and explain that things were moving slower and that they intend to have it published just as soon as they can. And the person that wrote me said they look forward to watching it themselves. Maybe that's a weather enthusiast from the Amazon Video Direct. All right, so that's it from me for today. I appreciate you tuning in as always. I'll be on top of what's happening with 91L, and then really the big rain event that it looks like it's going to set up, as I discussed. We'll get back on this tomorrow in the afternoon, around 3 or 4 o'clock or so. All right? Have a great rest of your Tuesday. Thanks for tuning in, as always, from your side of the screen. I appreciate it. I am Mark Sudduth for HurricaneTrack.com. We'll talk some more tomorrow.